Hey everybody, welcome back. Devin UG, the original Grognards. And back down here at the Grognards corner, at the Grognards table, playing one of the Grognards. Yeah, I need to stop doing that. I'm not Batman. I don't have bat boomerangs or bat shark repellent or anything like that. So, what are we looking at? NATO Air Commander. Solitaire Strategic Air Commander World War III from Hollandspiel Games. I was going to do an unboxing of this, but honestly, there's about 1,000 other unboxings out there. So, you want to know what the components are. If you don't know what it is, just go look at one of the other videos. Plenty of them out here. A couple things I will say about the components. Like most Hollandspiel games, I just love how thick... Come on, focus. Are you going to focus for me? No, it's not going to focus for me. New camera. What can you do? Thick. Look how thick those counters are. This MDF board or something like that. But yeah, very, very thick counters. Absolutely love how thick the counters are. Wish they were a little bit bigger, but, whatever. Yeah, so, what do we got here? Well, look at that. There's Germany. Well, this is a Third World War game, so it kind of makes sense, and it's NATO Air Commander. So, what's the point of this? You are operating the NATO Air Forces, putting together strike packages to try to stop and slow down the Soviet forces, which are represented on this map by these little counters representing the different formation, well, not the different formations, but each line is a separate thrust that the Soviets are making, and each of these counters represents the forces attached to those thrusts. I can't really say what they're supposed to represent because, right here we have this southern flank or foxtrot, and it's the scenario says it's a strength 3. Well, what exactly does that mean? Does that mean 3 divisions, 3 corps? What? I don't know. And then, of course, the U.S. forces have individual forces in each step along the track as well to try to slow down the Soviets. Yeah, it doesn't go real well sometimes. So, bunch of aircraft. Take a look at the aircraft. Let's do a quick once over. So, yeah, that's, what is that? I don't even know what that is. I suck with aircraft, I really do. But basically, all aircraft have the same nomenclature designation. You've got 3 numbers: air-to-air strength, ground strength, and strike strength. Now, you would think air strength or ground strength and strike strength would kind of be the same numbers, but in this game, the ground strike is actually making strafing runs, and strike is more standoff, launched munitions, ARAMs, HARMs, stuff like that. There is another number on the counter, if you notice in the upper right-hand corner. And that is used to figure out casualties if your aircraft take any casualties. Of course, this is a stealth bomber. You kind of see that with the S right there. The colors on the counters, kind of confused about. So you got the blue, which are U.S. obviously, and then you've got, what is it? Gold or tan for the UK. So yeah, that kind of makes sense. And then gold for Germany. I don't get that. I mean, I would think dark gray maybe, or maybe the dark gray didn't work with the blue color with the black of the counters. But gold's an odd choice for Germans. Red is Canada, orange is Netherlands, and then yellow in there for Belgium. What else have we got? We got some pilot markers. We got miscellaneous administrative markers. What do we got here? Turn record track for any reinforcements and what turn it is. Goes up to 10 turns. RP is reinforcement points, replacement points. You never have enough of these. PGMs, precision guided munitions. Depending on the scenario, you'll have an assortment of them, and they let your aircraft operate more efficiently. Dead track and OCA track. Dead is what is dead? Destroyed enemy anti-aircraft something or other. It's basically the more that this track goes up, the easier your strike missions are going to be, because it is representing destruction of enemy anti-air assets, SAMs, ZISUs, the whole infrastructure that goes along with Soviet anti-aircraft, ground-based anti-aircraft. And OCA track represents the what is OCA? I had these in my mind the other day. I really did. Let's see what it says officially. Now, offensive counter air, which is basically the further up this is, and actually for the both of them, the further up to the right they are, the better for you. It represents destruction of enemy ground assets and enemy air assets, basically. So as this number goes higher, like when you get here to 2, then that's going to make your air operations a lot easier, because you've succeeded in destroying or suppressing a lot of the enemy's air assets. Again, something easier said than done. Got a whole bunch of strike displays up here for different raids. You can have up to 9 raids. I really think that's way too much. I played through this game, and I think the most I could ever muster was like 3 or 4 strike raids. So, decapitation strikes, OOA strikes, which is going after offensive operations against enemy air units, or not OA, OCA, and then dead raids when you're going after enemy ground-based surface-to-air assets. So, well, yeah, that's kind of the basic layout of everything. You've got a bunch of positions up here for cards for the Warsaw Pact reinforcements, and I'll be touching on that more in the future. Warsaw Pact victory point chart. You don't want to get it to 20 victory points, because then the U.S. will start launching, or NATO will start launching nukes, and that ends the game. And you've got battlefield surveillance event card and next turn event cards for random battlefield events that could happen. So what are we looking at? Game comes with 3 different scenarios: easy, medium, and hard. Obviously, I'm going with the easy scenario. 1987. Odd time period to put the game in, but whatever. So yeah, this is the build-up scenario where basically both sides built up everything and declared war. So it's the easier scenario for NATO. I tried doing the medium scenario and was frustrated to no end, because a lot of this game comes down to the random number generator, which is done via resolution cards. There's no dice in the game, so I can't blame dice, but even still, the cards seem to screw with you at every opportunity. So, what are we going to do? We're going to go through. I don't know if we're going to play a full game. We'll probably get to a point where, yeah, I'll get very frustrated with everything. Because this game does that to me. I don't want to say it's, well, yeah, it's a hard game. But, it's a solitaire game. You need to put in elements in a solitaire game that make it difficult, but you don't want to make it too difficult. And I sometimes think that this game might be a little too difficult. Other people out there will disagree with me, until you figure out how to break the system. And I think I figured out how to break the system. And of course, once you break the system, and now I'm not one that goes looking for how to break a system. I try to play games straight up and clean. I don't try to min-max. I don't. If you watch my channel for long enough, I don't tend to do things like that. However, it was kind of easy to figure out how to break this, and I'll kind of show off how that's done in this game. But yeah, there's still a large amount of randomness to this game that the player has no control over. And I accept that as part of gaming, but there's some things that you should kind of have control over, but you don't, and you're just at the mercy of the card draws. So let's see. So let's go ahead, and so we're going to go ahead and just start. And let's see, what do we have? Because the first turn is always a little bit different Or actually, no. The first scenario we get to do everything. I believe so. Yeah. On the medium and hard scenarios, you skip a bunch of the first turn actions to represent the surprise of the Soviet forces attacking. But for the first scenario, the build-up scenario, the ones that we're doing, we don't have to worry about that. So actually, I might have a pretty good chance. All right. So really cool, convenient, player aid, card, guide. Basically goes through all the turns on the back. Really good. So if you got confused, just look to the back. It sets the turn order right there. So we're going to go do this procedurally. And I will give out my caveat. I'm going to get things wrong. I mean, honestly, this is like a 7-page worth of rules. I'm still going to... I played it through a couple days ago. I'm going to get stuff wrong. I always do. This isn't a how-to-play video. This is the OG sitting down, playing a game, trying to enjoy it best as he can. And if he can pass on some information to y'all and show you how to play it in a sort of kind of way and maybe make you want to go out and buy it yourself. All right, so first of all, receive objectives phase, pull 2 objective cards. Kind of the core of the game, and I actually really hate it. Because more often than not, you're chasing the objectives rather than having to do what is needed on the battlefield. And sometimes, because you got to chase the objectives because it's really the only secure way of getting extra resource points. So, and some of these are just insanely tough to do. So since you need and even the penalties for not completing them are so painful that the game forces you to go after these objectives rather than playing against the board and trying to slow down where the immediate threats are or hitting where the immediate Warsaw Pact breakthroughs are at. The penalties sometimes outweigh the benefits for it, so it's forcing you even more to chase these silly and stupid objectives. Now, if it was draw 2 cards and select one objective that you had to chase, I can almost kind of see that. Because in the last game I played, I don't think I played for what, 4 or 5 turns, so I had like 8 objectives and I think I completed 2 of them. So it's, yeah, they're a little bit silly, but like I said, if you know the system and you know how to break the system, then I suppose it's not too bad. So we'll just go ahead and draw 2 cards. And what do we got? All right. West German Second Corps counterattacks. Commander Syntag requests 2 close air supports in Sector Foxtrot. Okay, that's not too bad. That's actually very doable at the beginning of the game. If I success, well, then I get 2 RPs, which are my resource points, and 1 Warsaw Pact retreat in Sector Foxtrot. Well, there's Sector Foxtrot. That's this one right here. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot. Those are the different ones. Okay, so we got that. But if you also notice, if you succeed, you get 2 RPs. If you fail, you lose 2 RPs. So you're forced to do the objectives so you don't lose any RPs. And that's kind of a pain in the tushkas. So we got that. And then, okay. U.S. 7th Corps counterattacks. Commander Syntag requests 4 close air support hits in Sector Delta. Success, 3 resource points. 1 Warsaw Pact retreat in Sector Delta. Failure, to lose 2 resource points. So, there we go. Those are my 2 objectives, and if I want to keep from losing any of my precious RPs that I could possibly get at the end of turn, I'm going to have to do these. You know, 4 RPs is a lot. Maybe not on the first turn, but definitely in later turns. So I need to do 4 close air support hits in Sector Delta, which is tough but not impossible, which is going to be right here, and 2 hits in Sector Foxtrot, which is right down here. Okay, both of these are actually practical and almost doable. Hopefully. We'll see what happens. All right, then recon phase. Now, like I said, last time I played about 4 or 5 turns, I never successfully got a single recon mission off because I was at the mercy of the random number generators. Nothing I can do to affect this. This is just... and successfully completing a recon mission allows you to do something really, really cool, be it get a chance to determine what your event for the next turn is, to do a strike on the Soviet follow-up forces to keep them from getting reinforcements. What's the other one? A decapitation strike on the headquarters, which is actually really cool because if you pull off a decap strike, you can actually discard a card from the resolution cards, and that's really helpful. And I'll get into why that's so helpful in a little bit. But again, it's all random, and it's less than a 50% chance of you getting one of the, and it just the way that the cards pulled for me last time, I just didn't get a single recon mission off. And the recon missions are so powerful, you need the recon missions to have yourself a real good chance of getting, but again, you don't have any influence on if those are successful or not. It's just random. It's a bit annoying. It's really annoying. So, okay, so perform recon missions until one fails. All recon missions resolved using air intercept versus recon rating is 6. All right. So basically what that means is I've got an air recon rating of 6. So, and I need to make a resolution. So we'll go for the first. Do I declare what I do first? I think I need to declare what type of mission I want to do first before I make the pull. And the missions you have are battlefield surveillance, which reveal top resolution card, keeping as event or return to the bottom deck once per game turn. Locate headquarters allows decap strikes once per game turn, which again, that's one pretty good one because you can remove the resolution cards from the game. Locating staging area reveals target reinforcement cards, allows follow-on forward area mission. I think that's what FOFA means. Follow-on forces, and that'll lower the amount of reserves that the Warsaw Pact get each turn. It's kind of almost a pointless mission to carry out because the amount of reinforcements that the Soviets get on a regular basis, a little bit silly and ridiculous. So what we're going to do first is I think I want to do battlefield surveillance because I would love to get an option on the event card. So what does that mean? I've got an air recon value of 6. So we look at the air intercept value. If you take a look at the card, you got air intercept, ground attack, Warsaw Pact, reinforce, NATO reinforce. You have to basically quote unquote roll under the target number. So my target number was a 6. Because that's what the air recon, that's a flat number. You can't change that. So I pulled a card. I got a 5 or less because you have to pull under it. And hey, look at that, air intercept. I actually managed to roll under the number I needed. So that means the recon mission goes off. And like I said, this is the first time I've had a recon mission go off. So let's see what battlefields are. Reveal top resolution card, keeping as event or returning to bottom deck once per game turn. So I can only do this once. So we take a look at the resolution card. And what does this say? East Bloc unrest. Reduce the cohesion value of each Warsaw Pact force by 1, but not less than 1. It's kind of a good one. But like I said, the Warsaw Pact forces get so many reinforcements early in the game. Yeah, I think I'm going to take that. So what we're going to do is you place that right there where it says Battlefield Surveillance Event card. So it was the Battlefield Surveillance event, and so that's going to put right there. And that's the event that's going to take place for me when the random event comes around, so I don't have to worry. So if I didn't like that, I could have discarded it. If it was a bad one for me, I could have discarded it, had a chance of something else later in the turn. But we kind of like that one, so we're sticking with that one. And I can keep doing these recon missions until I fail. So I think the next one I want to do is a locate headquarters. So again, my recon value still is 6, so I got to pull. And there's air intercept 9. So the recon mission failed. So bam, done. That's it. That's all there is to it. Nothing else. I didn't get any decap strikes off. Air reconnaissance is done. So now you have air planning phase. So this is where basically you take your available aircraft and you assign them raids. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to take the stealth bomber and I'm going to put that on dead strike. I've found that the stealth bomber works really good at going after enemy enemy anti-aircraft element assets. Why? You're using the strike value, which is the third number, and the number of hits you inflict is whatever that number. For every 5 points you inflict, that I can talk. For every 5 points of your value, you inflict 1 hit. So 1 through 5 is 1 hit, 6 through 10 is 2 hits, 11 through 14 is 3 hits, 15, so on and so forth, on up. So with a strike value, it's got a 1 on against ground targets. So yeah, you can use it against ground targets, but it'll only do 1 hit. Whereas going against anything that requires a strike, which is 6, that'll let me put 2 hits on it. And the stealth fighters are really cool because I don't have to worry about pulling for the enemy intercepting me. Sort of. The chances of the stealth bombers getting through are really really good. We'll get to that in a little bit. But so what this is going to do, if it gets through, he's got a strike of 6. He's going to inflict 2 hits on the dead track, which will reduce the enemy's anti-aircraft values. Now, it won't do anything this turn. I mean, I really got to push it further, but it's a good way to force his anti-aircraft track down. So yeah, we're going to put him on a dead strike. Now, one thing you can also do, and I do like doing this, is operational electronic warfare. You can put aircraft. You can put 2 aircraft with an anti-air value of at least 1. So what do we want to put in there? Let's go ahead and put this Alpha Jet in there, and let's go ahead and put some Harriers on it. Now what that does is that gives me a temporary shift on the enemy aircraft response. It's temporary, it only lasts 1 turn, but as you can see, 1 column shift it gives me a 1. Or what does that mean? I'll get to that in a little bit when we get to air intercepts. But it's good to have I think it's good to do, especially if you've got the aircraft to spare. So I like putting the 2 aircraft on electronics warfare, and that gives you a temporary. You can see here, we shift it, OEW, that lets you know that I'm using the temporary bonus that the OEW escort aircraft are giving me. All right, so those are the first 2 things I like to get out of the way. Now, we've got to get 2 hits on Foxtrot and 4 hits on Delta. All right, so 2 hits on Foxtrot. Let's figure out what our Foxtrot mission is first. Let's go ahead and take Raid 1. Go ahead and grab the counter for Raid 1. And since we're doing a close air strike, because that's what they want, Syntag requests 2 close air support hits in Sector Foxtrot. So we'll put the raid in the Foxtrot CAS mission to know that we're doing a close air strike raid there. And you can kind of see each raid box has primary, air escort, and SEAD. You can only put 5 aircraft in a raid at any one time. So I've got to inflict 2 hits, so that means I need to have at least 6 points. So let's go ahead and take one of my A-10 Warthogs and put that. He's got a ground value. And since it's close air support, and let me go ahead and show you the great chart that they have here. Air escort missions are air intercept versus air. SEAD are ground defense versus ground attack. Close air support is a ground attack value. Dead is if whatever mission you're going after, it tells you what value to look at. So since we're doing close air support, we're going for ground attack. My Warthog has a ground attack value of 7. That's going to give me 2 hits. So that's the 2 hits I need. So I really don't need to put anything more to it. That's going to give me my 2 hits if they get through. The problem is, every time you go on a mission, you've got to make a couple pulls to see if you can get through the or if your air escorts can escort you to the target, and the SEADs is if they can suppress the enemy air defenses. This is where a lot of the problem comes into play, because I need to assign units to air escort. And since we're going off of since it's an air escort, it goes off of intercept or your air value. I need to come up with air value numbers. So, and that's the first number. So we take a look at this. I think that's an F-16, maybe an F-18. I don't know. He's got an air value. air value of 6. So we'll put that there. The game basically, all these resolution cards runs on a D10 system. So basically, when you're pulling a card, is basically you're like rolling a 10-sided dice, and you got to roll under the number. So what we've got is we've got a 6. So if I were to put no other units there, I would have to draw a 5 or less to be able to successfully get the airstrike through. Not really good odds. It's 50-50 odds. Now, what we can do, or what we do also have to take into account is the OCA track. The OCA track actually subtracts whatever the current track is from the dice roll, in a sense, or subtracts 1 from the resolution draw. So with the 2 aircraft that we've put on OEW Escort, gives me an automatic +1 on the track, which puts the current OCA track at 1. I get a -1 on whatever I draw on the resolution card, so it basically makes this a 7, so I need a 6 or less. Little bit better odds, but you know what? Let's go ahead and buff that up a little bit. So let's go ahead and take one of these, and we'll go ahead and put him there. So now we've got 6 + 4. We've got 10 points of air intercept value, and we're going to get a +1 from the track. So basically, the air aspect part of this is probably going to get through with no problem. But that's not the only part you have to worry about. Now you have to worry about the enemy air defenses as the strike is going in, and that's what the CA does, suppression of enemy air defenses. This goes off of, again, we look at our handy little chart right here. It's a CA strike, so it's ground defense versus ground attack. So I need to come up with ground attack numbers, which is the second number. And again, just like for pulling the numbers or quote-unquote rolling the dice, you modify the number that is on the card by whatever's on the dead track. So don't have any suppression of enemy air defense. You don't have any good suppression of enemy air defenses. So I'm going to need to come up with as many points as I possibly can. So let's go ahead and take this. I think that's an F4. Yes, I know, I suck. No, that's a Harrier. So we're going to take this Harrier with a ground strike of 5, put it on CA'd, and then let's go ahead and take this. What is that? It's a Tornado. Yeah, that's a Tornado. Take the Tornado and put it on C8 as well. Now, that's only going to be... come on, focus. That's only going to be 8 points. So there's still a chance that it may not go off. And the problem is if you fail a check at either the air stage or the ground stage and the entire raid fails. Yeah, that's great, isn't it? So you always want to try to max out as much as you can on the air escort and the C8 missions, just so the raid will get through. Because if the raid doesn't get through, it doesn't do you any good. So we've got that so far. So that's going to be, if everything goes off perfectly, that's going to be the two hits that I'm going to get on Sector Foxtrot. Now I need 4 hits in Sector Delta, which means I'm going to need to come up with, so we'll just go ahead and take Raid 2 marker and put it on Delta, because we know we're going to be doing that one. This one probably isn't going to get through. So let's go ahead. Actually, I don't even think I'm going to be able to muster enough to be able to do it. Now, there is something I do have. I got this great little thing here. You got PGMs, precision guided munitions. They're standoff aerial launched weapons that are one-shot use. So I've got 5 of them right now. So I can use PGMs on my aircraft 5 times. And that basically doubles whatever value I'm using. All right, so well, let's go ahead and take a look at this. So we've got this, what is that? That's not an Alpha. That's a Jaguar. So we got this Jaguar with a ground value of 7. I could use a PGM on it and make that ground value of 14, which I think we're going to do because that gives us 3 hits, and we need to inflict 4 hits. So I need to get it up to 16. So let's go ahead and take... Let's go ahead and take one of these. That's an F-16. F-18. What is that? I got the sheet right here. I'm looking right at it. F-16. So that'll give us 14. So that'll give us 16 ground strike, which will give us the 4 hits we need on the target. So, all right, that'll work. Now, again, like before, I've got escort missions I need to do. I got my air escort, so this goes with the air value. So let's go ahead and take that F-16. It's a 5 right now. And I know because of the temporary electronic warfare, it's going to be essentially a 6. But you know what? Let's go ahead. Let's take another one of my precision-guided munitions to make it a 10. And then, since the C8 is a strike, we'll go ahead and take that tornado. It is a tornado, right? No, it's an F-111. With a value of 8. And let's go ahead and throw this F-16 on there to make it a 10. So, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5 aircraft. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I've assigned to that mission. Now I've got 3 aircraft left. What I want to do is I do want to try to hit their air bases. So let's go. Let's go ground strike. That'll at least give me 1 hit on it. Let's go air escort and C8 to 4. Now this mission is probably going to fail just because, you know, I'm looking at, I don't have 10s across the board for it, but you know, it's something. It's something we're going to throw out there anyways. All right, so that's putting together the strike packages. And that's this part of the game I actually enjoy, figuring out what strike packages I need to put together, how many hits do I need to inflict, so what needs to go on to the primary mission, what needs to be escorting them, what needs to be suppressing the enemy air defenses. This part of the game is part of the game I really enjoy. All right, so that's the air planning. Oh crap, I can't do that on turn. I can only do this on turn 2. All right, so I can only do OEW on turn 2 or later. So I got 2 extra aircraft that I can use. Well, let's go ahead and, well, you know what? I'm only going to inflict 1 hit with either the 5 or the 1. So let's go ahead and put the Alpha on a strike. Put the Tornadoes on air escort, and then the Harrier on along with the C8. So okay, so since I can't do the OEW on turn 1, I just saw that. Okay, so that means I'm not going to have the OCA track modified down one because I don't get that temporary modifier. Raid resolution. Okay. Now, the raids can be conducted in any way you want, in any order you want. So what I'm going to do first, because I like to get it out of the way, we're going to go for the dead strike with the stealth bombers. Now, normally at this point, I would draw a card and compare it against my air escort number. And then if it gets past, if that succeeds, then I'd have to draw it against the C8. However, since the stealth bomber is a special card, special counter, it ignores the air escort. So I don't have to pull a card for the air escort, but I do have to draw a card when we get to the suppression of enemy air defenses. I've got nothing there to suppress it because I didn't assign any. Had I assigned even 1 aircraft, then I would have been under the normal rules and restrictions of having to pull air escort and C8. But since they're by themselves as stealth, I ignore the air escort, and they have a special rule on C8. Basically, I draw the resolution number. Of course. If either air intercept or ground defense is a 10 against a stealth, then yeah, it blows the stealth jet out of the air. And remove from game. It's not even damaged. It's flat out destroyed. So yeah, they blew my stealth bombers right out of the air. Great. Like I said, the game's gonna screw me. It's gonna screw me any chance it can get. All right, so let's take a look at the next mission. Well, let's go ahead and do let's do counter air. So first of all, we need to get past the air escort, and I've got 10 on air escort. And remember, I got to draw a card, and I've got to get less than whatever my intercept number is. So on the air intercept. Okay, so air intercept, it's a 9. My value's a 10. All right, so I get past that. We managed to fight off the air escorts. So we get past the air escort stage. Now we go into the Siege phase, and my value is a 9. So I need to draw a card. Ground defense, great, 10. All right, well, the ground defense that I pulled is higher than the value I have assigned to ground defense. So the mission flat out fails. Now I get to draw a card, and I take a look at this number in the lower right-hand corner, and we have a 17. Come on, focus. It's a 17. This is how you determine damages to whatever aircraft are in the strike. So basically, you look, each aircraft has a number in the upper right-hand corner, which is their identifying tag, and you look for the aircraft that's closest to that number that I just pulled. So I pulled a 17, and the closest number to that is the 18. So the 18 is going to take the damage. We flip him over to his damage side, and the rest of the planes, you're not supposed to move them until the end of the turn. Well, let's go ahead and let's do things procedurally. I shouldn't have pulled them off there yet, but we'll go ahead and keep them on the mission. So he's flipped over to his damage side. Now, if you have two aircraft that are equal, so like had I had a 16 in there, and so 16 and 18 are one number away from 17, both would have been damaged. That's not a good thing to get two aircraft damaged off of one failed airstrike. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's go to Raid 1. And if we remember, Raid 1 is a close airstrike on Path Foxtrot. So, again, we have to figure out, first of all, we have to get past the air intercept phase. And my air intercept number right there is a 10. So draw a card. And the air intercept is an 8, so it is lower than my number, so I get past the air intercept. Now we move on to the suppression, and we're looking at an 8 there. And we draw a true on the ground defense. So for air intercept, you use the air intercept value. For ground defense, you use the ground defense. So we got a 2 on there, so that is lower than my ground attack strength, which is an 8. So the strike is going to go off. And since I'm doing a close air support strike, I'm going to inflict 2 hits. So what we do is we take one of these counters, and we mark that we did 2 hits on, well, close air support is actually in support of whatever's on the ground. So we add that to our existing, whatever our furthermost right NATO formation is. That's actually pretty good. This may be beneficial to me. It actually may work out. Okay, so that's Raid 1. Successful mission. You don't have to worry about anybody being damaged, so they're all good. So now we've got our Raid 2 that we're going for, which is along Vector Delta, and we are going to be hitting, or we're going to be doing close air support. So again, we just have to rinse, wash, repeat. And again, once you get the basic mechanics down, you can flip through the turns really easy. So we're looking at our air intercept. Our air intercept is a 5, but I'm using precision guided munitions, so that doubles it to a 10. Draw a resolution card. My air intercept number is a 6. So I rolled under my number, so I get past the air intercept. And now I have to do the ground suppression. We're looking at a 6. Or no, this is a ground suppression. C8 is oh poop! I did it wrong. I thought C8 was strike. Crap. All right, so it's going on against the ground, which is only a 5. I put the I thought the 8 was going to be the number. Oopsie. So we're looking at a 5. So I need a 4 or less. And ground defense is a 6, which is higher, so the raid fails. And now I need to, well, let's go ahead and just get rid of the PGM. And I'm also going to get rid of that PGM because the strike failed. So now I need to draw a number to see which aircraft ends up getting damaged. We've got 2. So we take a look at all of them. Looks like 6 is the closest. 6 is the closest one. So it will get flipped over to its damage side. And that's basically all the missions, or the raid missions. You just rinse, wash, repeat. Again, it's real easy. Roll to get past the air defense, roll to get past the ground defense, and then if you get past both, you go ahead and do your damage. Yeah, that's the raid resolution. So now once all your raids are done, now you go into ground combat phase, which is where the Soviets are going to be pressing on to the NATO forces. So basically, you draw a card for each thrust line with NATO forces remaining, and basically, it's all started the game. All my thrust line have got NATO forces remaining. So I'll draw a card for that, and I'll add the attack resolution to the NATO force cohesion value plus any hits scored in close air assault, and compare it to the NATO or to the Warsaw Pact cohesion number. So let's just go ahead and start down here just because it's closest. So what does that mean? So what we're looking at right here in Foxtrot is the Warsaw Pact cohesion is a 3. The U.S. cohesion is a 2, but since I inflicted 2 close air superior or close airstrike hits on it, I actually get to add that to the cohesion level of the U.S. forces there. So that's going to be a cohesion of U.S. 4 to Warsaw Pact of 3, which is really good because when you do a ground resolution, you draw a card and you look at attack resolve. You basically take that number, which is the 3, and add it to the NATO forces and compare it to the Warsaw Pact forces. So what does that mean? We've got 4 plus the 3 that we got from the card, which is a 7, which is higher than the Warsaw Pact cohesion of 3, which means we win the fight. We actually held them there. Now, this is something that I hadn't seen before. It's this is the only time. If the NATO forces double, if the NATO result doubles the Warsaw Pact number, let's take a look at it. If NATO defense value is more than double the Warsaw Pact, the NATO ground forces counterattacked in addition to the above Warsaw Pact force cohesion. Okay, so if the Warsaw Pact loses a fight, they immediately lose 1 cohesion. So they go from a 3 to a 2 just for losing the fight. Don't worry, they'll get lots more. It'll happen. But since we doubled, the Warsaw Pact forces move 1 box to the right. Unfortunately, they got no further because they're in their starting box. If the Warsaw Pact force already occupies the starting box when a counterattack occurs, neither it nor the Warsaw Pact nor the NATO ground force counter moves, but the Warsaw Pact force suffers an addition reduction in its cohesion total to 2 points, but cannot be reduced less than 1. All right, so that was actually pretty good. The Germans attacked, and with all the air support we threw into it, and with the number we drew, I got 7 to their 3, which more than doubled. So that means they lost the fight, which gave them a 1-point cohesion loss. Plus, since they're in their starting box, they would have lost another 2, but they can never lose more than 1 is the minimum they can go to. So that was actually really, really good. And basically, you just do the same thing for the rest. Let's go ahead and take these raid markers off of here. For the rest of each line. So right here, we've got NATO 2 versus Warsaw Pact 3. We take a look at the attack resolve. It's a 2. 2 plus 2 is 4, which is greater than 3. So the NATO forces win here, which reduces this by 1 to 2, and there was no Warsaw Pact advance. Here, we've got 4 to 5. Attack resolve of 6, so that's going to be, ooh, wow, 10 to 5. Now, it's not more than 2 to 1. It's double, but it is not more than. So Warsaw Pact forces will be reduced to 4 there. Now, I kind of thought this the first time I played the game last time. It's like, wow, I can hold these Warsaw Pact forces all day long if these are the no. Well, the Soviets get reinforcements. They get lots of reinforcements. We'll see that coming. All right, so long line Charlie, we got 4 to 5. Attack resolve of 4, which makes it an 8 to a 5. So again, we stifle the Soviets' advance. And then in Bravo, we've got 3 to 4. With an attack resolve of 2, making it 5 to 4, which stifles the Soviet advance again. And they lose cohesion. And then 3 to 4 up there. A ground attack. Oh, ground attack is a 1. So 3 plus 1 is a 4. To therefore, I did not beat them. So since I did not beat them, the Soviets are going to be able to advance. And it completely eliminates, when they win a fight, they completely eliminate the forces that are in that sector, and they immediately advance one. Plus, as you can see, there's a little victory point number right above the zone. So that's 2 victory points they get. So really, this was a really good first turn, relatively speaking, for us, that we were able to stop the Soviets everywhere and even managed to punch them in the face and really, really hurt them down here in Foxtrot. And when the first time I played this, I thought, great, this is cool. This is not as hard as I thought it was going to be. Yeah. Okay, next, after the ground combat phase, is reinforcement phase. Resolve revealed reinforcements for Warsaw Pact first, subtracting any hits resolved in follow-on forces assault. I didn't have any FOFAs, and what I should have done, I didn't do this, is you've got these Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot all along the top. The beginning of each turn, you're supposed to throw down a card for each slot. I don't know why you're pulling cards. I don't know. I don't get it, but you're supposed to. Why you can't just draw from the deck, and why you have to pre-pull. I didn't. I forgot. Procedurally, I forgot. But we're going to go ahead and do this anyways. So you draw a card, and for Alpha, take a look at Warsaw Pact reinforcement. 3. So they get 3 reinforcements there. So their 4 just became a 7. Yeah. You need to do this for each one of them. Next one gets 4. So now they're 7. The next one gets 3. Warsaw Pact reinforced. So they're 7. Yeah, the Soviets may start off kind of weak, but after the first turn, all of a sudden they explode all over your face. Warsaw Pact reinforcement 3. So they get bumped to a 7. And this happens every turn. And if you notice, there's a 5 reinforcement. So that puts it straight to 6. Or no, 5 plus 2 is 7. Yeah. Fortunately, the most you can get to is 8. And the last one, Foxtrot, there's a 3. If you haven't noticed, all the reinforcements are anywhere from 3 to 5. So it's really, really, really hard to stop the Soviet forces once they get big. Because now, in the next turn when combat comes around, it's going to be cohesion of 2 versus their 7 plus whatever I draw. You would think that the Soviets would start off really, really big at the beginning and kind of run out of steam the further east they go. No, it kind of is. They start off weak and they get stronger the further east they go. Anyways, so yeah, let's go ahead and just do what we're supposed to do. So let's go ahead and put down for next turn. These are going to be the reinforcement cards. Let's go ahead and put those all in order. Again, doesn't really make that much difference. All right. Now we have to figure out what NATO's reinforcements are. I wish NATO's reinforcements were kind of like the Warsaw Pact reinforcements, but they're not. So you draw a card. Every time, it's everything. No dice rolling. I love that about this game. NATO reinforcements. 7. All right. So I get 7 points I can place anywhere. Yeah. Grand total of 7. Yeah. Well, let's see. What do we want to do? The 3 victory point cities are the most important. There's 4 of them. Munich, Frankfurt, Bonn, and Amsterdam. Those are the most important ones. So I'm going to kind of show you the little thing that kind of breaks the game. The maximum cohesion a Soviet force can be at is 8. Maximum cohesion a U.S. force can be at is an 8. So when an 8 faces off against an 8 and you draw a resolution card, you're pretty much guaranteed of always being able to stop the Soviet forces. I don't think there are any ground resolution. Oh no, actually there are. There are attack resolutions of 0, and since you need to beat the enemy number, but you know it's a 1 in 10 chance of happening. So yeah, basically to break the game is you just try to jack up as many locations in each line to an 8 as you can, so it really reduces the Soviets' ability to get past you at that point. Can you do it in time? It's debatable. So I like protecting the 3 victory point locations. And let's see, we've got one here. We're 3 turns away. We're 3 turns away here. We're 4 turns away here and 3 turns away. Okay, so you know what? Let's just go ahead and take all 7 and dump them into Munich. There's a 1 in 10 chance that that city is going to fall whenever a full-strength Soviet unit gets to it. Basically, you got 3 turns to jack up as many of your 3 victory point cities locations as you can. Does it mean that they're never going to fall? No. Like I said, there's still a 1 in 10 chance that you'll draw a 0 and 8 versus 8, the NATO is going to lose. That's why decapitation strikes are so very important. Remember, with a decapitation strike, if you successfully get a decapitation strike off, you can remove any card in the game. And if you're really worried about it, that's why you remove any attack results of 0. Just remove them from the game, reducing the chances of the Warsaw Pact forces breaking through. That's the break to the game. That's what you do to break the game. I mean, I hate looking for ways to break a game. I don't normally do it, but it was just so glaringly obvious. You know, once you figure out that little trick, it makes the game a hell of a lot easier. So we'll continue playing and seeing what happens with it, anyways. Because honestly, at this point, it's just theory craft of me doing that. And actually, what I should have done is do I do those guys? Okay, that's the reinforcements. That's the NATO. Draw and resolve the event. All right, so now you draw the random event. But since I got the battlefield surveillance off from my reconnaissance earlier, this is the event card that we go with. Reduce cohesion value of each Warsaw Pact force by 1, but not less than 1. All right, so like I said earlier, it's not that... I mean, it helps, but, you know. All right, so after random events, reinforcements. I forgot. Reinforcements, if you have any aircraft reinforcements that are coming on, They come on at this point. And usually for all three scenarios, it's like the first couple, 3 turns anyways. So all these get put into the basing. So let's go ahead. So we got some F-15s, got another A-10s, Harrier, F-16, F-111 aardvark, it looks like. Don't remember exactly when I shift the aircraft from the raids back down, but basically when you shift them back down, if you have a damaged aircraft, you have the option of sticking it in the damaged so you can try to repair it, or you can put it right in back into your basing and they remain wounded. I kind of like having my aircraft get repaired, but if you're running low on aircraft and really need to have aircraft in basing, you know, you can put the damaged aircraft right back into base. So everybody shifts back down. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's try to do it at least so I can have like aircraft with each other. So I have the numbers easily identifiable. Not a big enough space, in my opinion. And I don't mind stacking the counters. It's just I wish it was just a tiny bit bigger. There we go. Yeah, too many aircraft with too many different stats. All right. There we go. Now, resource point phase. Very last thing in the turn. Okay. You earn 1 resource point for each Warsaw Pack force still in its starting box. And really, you're only going to get this on the first turn for the most part. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I get 5 points for that. So let's go ahead and just move my resource points up by +5. 3, I get 1 RP. You get 1 RP for each 3 victory point cities still in NATO control. And there's only 4 of them. Munich, still in my control. Frankfurt, still in my control. Bonn, still in my control. And Amsterdam, still in my control. So that gives me 4 more RPs, which is kind of why you really want to hold on to those locations. Other than just denying the Soviets 3 victory points, it also gives you a resource point. So that's why you want to stack up and get those formations to an 8 as quick as you can. If the dead track is maxed out, and I'm knocking counters off over here. And if the OCA track is maxed out, you get 1 point as well. Takes a little bit to get there, possible to do. And then spending RPs. So to place an eliminated air unit in the damage. I don't think the stealth units. Oh, I actually can bring it back. So it is eliminated. Technically eliminated. So it cost me. So here we go. Spend RPs. Place eliminated air unit in the air box for 2 RPs. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and put spend 2 to put it in the damaged box. Oh, I don't think I can. Because it doesn't have a repaired side. I'll have to check that. Well, let's go on the assumption because it doesn't. Oh, well, it does have the line on it. Okay, let's assume that cost me 2 points. Move damage units to the repair box for 1 point each. So we're going to go ahead, and when you move them to the repair box, you flip them over to their normal side. So I had 9 RPs. I spent 2 to bring the stealth bomber back, 3 to repair all of them. Now, move repaired units to basing box. 1 RP if it began phased in repaired box. 2 RP if it began in damaged box. So it started off in the damage, so it cost me 2 points. I'm not going to do that. Purchase pilot chits and purchase PGMs. Okay, pilot chits. Pilot chits are 2 points each. Pilot chits are really cool. This is a pilot chit. You put them kind of right here in your pilots. You assign them to missions. And whenever you draw a card that you don't like the number for, you can burn your pilot chit to redraw a card again. Kind of useful, and you kind of seen how bad my dice rolls or card pulls have been. So let's go ahead and buy 1 US and 1 British. So that's going to be 4 points. I've got one replacement point left over. I can save that until next turn. I've got 3 PGMs. If I wanted to buy another PGM, that actually costs 3 RPs. Also, oh yeah, one thing I forgot to mention. We forgot to do the objective cards. I'm sorry. All right, so the Foxtrot was successful. The 2 sector hits, or the 2 close air support hits in Sector Foxtrot were successful. So that gives me 2 RPs and the forced retreat in Foxtrot, which wasn't able to do because, well, he's in its starting box anyways. But 7th Corps counterattack failed. And because I failed, I lose 2 RPs. Oops, not PGMs, 2 RPs. So, yeah, it's the penalties is very painful for not doing the objectives. And I think you spend too much time in the games chasing objectives rather than caring what the battlefield situation is. Like, you may get 2 missions that may require you to go after Charlie and Delta, but, you know, up here on Alpha, the Soviets could be right here and about to capture Amsterdam, but you've only got enough airplanes. I mean, yeah, you could go after, do the Amsterdam to keep Amsterdam from falling, but failing the objectives here, you're going to lose 4, 5, 6 RPs. Yeah, eventually we'll get to the point where you're not earning any RPs at all. And it's just a downward spiral, as it were. Now, I know I've kind of been talking a little bit harsh about the game. I don't want you to think I don't like the game. I actually do enjoy the game for what it does, which is a quick look at basically air support and airstrike missions in Cold War Gone Hot. And once you know what you're doing, you can burn through the turns relatively quick. It's just a little touch too hard with chasing the objective markers all the time, objective cards all the time, and also at the same time, a little bit too easy once you learn how to break the system. So, do I enjoy this game and would I recommend it? Yes. Am I going to keep playing this? Yes. This is just the first video. I'm probably going to do a couple more turns, and the future turns are probably going to go a little bit quicker because I've had to explain a lot of the rules and get a little bit of my frustration with the game out of the way. But I am going to keep playing this because I do actually like how this game plays. I have a couple minor issues with it. I've already announced those. But, you know, that's not going to stop me from enjoying the game. So, I guess that's all I've got for right now. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms in the comment section. I'll see everybody next time. See ya!